How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Tressa's Collectibles channel. Today we're going to be bringing back our box openings. This is going to be our first box opening of the year 2026, and we're going to be going straight into Dandadan. So this is a set that, on the JP side, unfortunately had a bit of a disappointing history that we're looking to remedy a bit on the English side. We're going to have some brand new rarities that were not seen in the Japanese version, as well as a few new cards that were introduced as promo cards on the JP side, but they're going to be incorporated in the booster set itself for English. And so it's pretty exciting to be bringing you guys this new, it's only slightly edited, but it is new nonetheless, stuff to take a look at in the Dandadan booster box. We're going to be doing our usual box opening for the channel, which is going to be one of the trial deck and two of the booster boxes. And as far as the ratios for each of these, the trial deck is going to have expected ratio of 2 SPs per case of 48 trial decks. There are 3 possible sign cards that you can potentially get out of the trial deck, which are going to be one for each of the main trio, so Okarun, Momo, and Aira. And then the booster box is going to have quite a laundry list of special rarities. So we have the SPs, which are expected ratio of 5 per sealed case of booster boxes. Now, one thing to note is that the SPs in this set unfortunately do not have voice actor, voice actress signatures. This was one of the kind of big disappointing points for the set when it came out in its JP release. So just letting you guys know, those SPs, they are just going to be like a red frame and red lettering. But there are a few other rarities that you could potentially look to pull. So one of them is the new Dandadan Rare, which is going to be expected ratio of 1 per case. And the Dandadan Rares are going to be the foil parallel versions of the 4 new cards that were added to the set. So those 4 cards are incorporated into the set in a normal rarity, like rare or uncommon. But as far as their foil versions go, it will be in this new Dandadan Rare. We also have the SSP Plus, which is plus, right? Oh, it is just SSP. Interesting. Okay. I thought it had a plus. Okay, so we have the new SSP rarity, which is going to be just 2 cards. It's going to be the Aira level 0 and Aira level 1. And those ones are going to come with Ayane Sakura voice actress signature prints on them. And so the reason those 2 cards were introduced in JP is because they were part of the Occult Battle Promo Pack, the same one that those other 4 new cards were included in. You could get a copy of one of those 4 new promos, or you also had the rare chance to hit one of these 2 Ayane Sakura Aira signature cards. And so those ones are not guaranteed in a sealed case of booster boxes, nor are the highest rarity that was present in the original Dandadan booster box, which is going to be the SEC Plus, Secret Plus. And for SEC Plus, those ones also do not have voice actor, voice actor signatures, but they do have some really cool stamp designs on them. And there are 3 possible SEC Plus, which are going to be, again, our 3 main trio, Okarun, Momo, and Aira. Okay, so yeah, Triple R Plus. I forgot to talk about Triple R Plus. So Triple R Pluses are another special rarity that are not guaranteed in a sealed case, but you should look out for those. They have silver, they're Climax cards with silver border, and the entire like trigger icon is going to be silver. Those cards look really, really nice, but they can be a bit hard to read. Look out for those in your boxes, and as I said, they are not guaranteed in a sealed case of booster boxes. Now, as far as the story of Dandadan, this was a pretty big like shonen action anime from, I believe it was just last year, where basically we have our 2 main characters, which are going to be Okarun and Momo. Okarun is really interested in aliens, so he just likes to study like aliens and abductions and things like that. And Momo, on the other hand, is involved with kind of like dead spirits and things like that. And her grandmother Sayako is also involved with like spirits and talking to the dead and things like that. And both of these two characters, they don't really believe in the topic that the other is involved with. So like Okarun doesn't really believe in these in like the spirits, and Momo doesn't believe in aliens. And so one day they meet and they just kind of start talking, and neither of them are really the kind to ever normally talk to each other. Like Momo is kind of like a Gyaru archetype, and she has like kind of a bad attitude and she like trash talks a lot, but she is a kind girl at heart. And then Okarun is kind of like the more like nerdy type. He just kind of like keeps to himself and just like, you know, studies his alien invasions and things like that. But when the two of them meet and talk to each other, they really get engaged in the conversation, and they're really like speaking up about the topics that they like. And the two characters eventually become more comfortable around each other, and then you can kind of start to see a bit of romance blooming between the two. And then our third main character is going to be Aira. So Aira is like basically the most popular girl in school, you know, the one that everybody wants to talk to and be friends with. But she is really just, on the inside, she is just like manipulative and self-centered, and she knows that she is the hot stuff at school, and she wants everybody to know that. But she does get caught up in these alien and spirit adventures that these two are going on, and she does eventually develop powers of her own, which we will see in some of the cards. The way the themes of this show are kind of incorporated into the actual gameplay is mainly going to be in the fusion mechanic. So for the two characters that can like fuse with a spirit, which are Okarun and Aira. So Okarun is eventually given the powers of Turbo Granny, and Aira is given the powers of Acrobatic Silky, who I guess I won't get too into detail on like Aira's story with Acrobatic Silky. You guys can check that out yourself, but just know that she does get the powers of a spirit, and that will be reflected in some of her cards. The fusion mechanic is basically combining the spirit that inhabits the character and like a normal human card of that character, and then combining them into their powered up form. So that is going to be reflected in both the trial deck and the booster set itself. Okay, so that is going to be our introduction for the set. Here we have, of course, our case topper playmat. This is going to be inserted one per sealed case of playmats, as this is the stitched edged variety of playmats that comes with the sets that are not English originals, whereas the English original ones are going to be non-stitched edged with 4 playmats per case. Okay. Now, without further ado, let's get right into the first of our products, which is going to be the trial deck. As I do with all of my trial decks here on the channel, I do like to open it from the bottom. Just flip these two flaps up, and then these flaps should all just kind of come open quite easily. With every trial deck, we're going to be getting the same usual materials alongside our deck, which are going to be the quick guide, as well as a paper playmat. So here we have the quick guide. It just kind of tells you some of the rules of the game and things like that, in case you are a newer player. And then for those of you who don't have one of these nice rubber playmats, we do have the paper playmat that comes in the trial deck. As with all trial decks, on the back of the playmat, you can check out a quick little guide for those of you who like to get 2 copies of the trial deck. You can use those 3rd and 4th copies of cards that don't come as a playset already, and combine them into a stronger deck using those 2 trial decks. Of course, if you want to go above and beyond, as with usual on the channel, we are going to be uploading a TD++, which is our series that we do here on the channel, where we take a trial deck and power it up with budget options, so usually rare and lower, from the booster set. So be on the lookout for that in our upcoming videos. Now let's get into the trial decks cards for our first of 2 guaranteed foils that we get in every trial deck. It's going to be our cover card SR, which is going to be Momo. Momo, as far as the voice actor and voice actresses go, since I already mentioned Aira is voiced by Ayane Sakura, Momo is voiced by Shion Wakayama, who is known for roles like Takina in Licorice Recoil, for those of you who are Licorice fans, or if more recently you guys have been playing Arknight's Enfield, she does voice Perlica in the JP version. Now, this Momo is going to be our level 1 combo for the trial deck, so if all of your characters are human or strange, which are our main traits of the set, then she is 6,000 power, and then Climax combo, when this attacks, you mill the top 3 cards of your deck, and then salvage a level X or lower character, where X is the number of characters that were put into the waiting room by this effect. So if you mill 3 characters, you can salvage any character of level 3 or lower, which is pretty much any character. Kind of the downside of this card compared to other similar Climax combos that have this kind of effect is that this card must mill exactly 3 cards, whereas we have seen cards with this kind of ability in the past being able to mill up to 3, so they can choose to stop at any point. Unfortunately, this card does not have that freedom, but still a pretty good card nonetheless. It also does have some support cards in the booster set, in case you want to use those to power up the trial deck. Our Brainstorm for the trial deck is going to be the Aira Brainstorm. During your turn, all of your copies of Cursed Power Okarun and Fashion is the battle uniform for Gyaru's Momo get plus 1,000 power, so those are going to be our 2 Climax combos, I believe. And kind of interesting that this one only gives them plus 1,000 power during your turn. We have seen in some other trial decks, such as the Hololive trial decks, those draw Brainstorms from those trial decks just give a continuous 1k power to both of the Climax combos in the trial deck, but maybe that would be a little bit too broken with the Momo, as she is already 6,000 base continuous, so maybe just like having 2 Brainstorms on the board and having them be able to go up to 8,000 cross turn would just be a little bit too strong. For our Bonder of the trial deck, we have Battle Resolve Okarun, which can bond into 2 different cards, which are going to be Turbo Granny, which is the 2/1 trance or fusion, and nothing wrong with that Momo, which I actually don't know which card that is off the top of my... Oh, it's just the vanilla, as with all bond packages in these trial decks. And then during your turn, it gives all copies of the vanilla plus 2,000 power. Usually some of the first cards that you want to get rid of in your trial deck are going to be the bond package, and I would imagine that this trial deck is no different. Our next 0 is going to be You're Being a Pest Okarun. This is a global 500, and then you can pay 2 and rest this to salvage a character. Going straight to our level 2s. So the trial deck is going to contain scenes from like the first small arc of the show, where both of them first interact with aliens and spirits. So Okarun is going to have his experience with Turbo Granny, which is a spirit, and Turbo Granny is going to gobble up his family jewels, more or less. And then on Momo's end, she is going to be abducted by aliens, and they are going to try to take her banana. I will, for those of you who have not seen the show, I will let you just imagine what that might mean. So this is one of the aliens, though, and this is going to be the level assist of the deck. All characters in front of this get 500 times their own level, and then when this is placed on stage from hand, you can choose one of your opponent's level 3 or lower back row characters, and it does not stand next turn. Okay, our next 2/1 is going to be Turbo Granny. So this card is meant to be used with the level 0 You're Being a Pest Okarun, and she has an effect called Fusion. So the way Fusion works is you need to have both of these characters on stage, and then you activate Turbo Granny's effect. You're going to stack them on top of each other, search your deck for a specific level 3. In this case, it's going to be Cursed Power Okarun, and play it on top of both of them. This basically functions like an early play. It allows you to bring out a level 3 while still at level 2. And we'll come back to the level 3 Okarun in a sec, as the card that comes before it in the trial deck is going to be the level 3 Aira. So this Aira is an on-play heal, and then it just has 11k power and hand encore. The Okarun, so when it's placed on stage from your hand or by fusion, you get to heal 1, and then Climax combo with the Gold Bar Climax, Occultic Game of Tag in Shono City. When this attacks, you can pay 1, and then your opponent mills the bottom 2 cards of their deck, and if there is a Climax among those 2 cards, you deal 1 damage to your opponent. And he also gains an additional 1000 power until the end of the opponent's next turn. So the idea is you want to bring out this combo at level 2, and then utilize the Climax combo to deal extra damage to your opponent, while also making Okarun a little bit bigger. Try to prevent your opponent from being able to kill him, and then maybe you can go for another Climax combo on your next turn by getting another Gold Bar Climax. For our red cards, we have Ain't She Super Cute Momo. This is a 2500 power card with the help of her first effect. And then at the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, you can choose one of your characters, and you can make it be a chaser. So chaser meaning that it can run in front of an opponent's character. Not too great to use this effect in this trial deck, as there aren't any particularly big characters. Usually when you have a chaser, you want to have something really big so that it runs in front of your opponent's character, and they are forced to side attack it. But in this trial deck, there's not anything that's particularly large. And we have our Climax Swapper, Seiko. This is the grandma. I know she doesn't look like a grandma, but she is the grandma. This is just a normal Climax Swapper. On play, pay 1, discard a Climax to salvage a Climax from your waiting room. Just a great card that you want to have in pretty much every deck, just to allow you to have easier access to the correct Climax at the correct time. And it is also a level 0 reverser, so even if you don't need to use this card for its Climax swap ability, you can just use this to eliminate an opponent's level 0 threat. Then we have the level 1 Seiko counter. This is just a 2k counter, but can be quite useful in this deck to protect some of the defensive lines that are on the larger side. You can use this to boost up Momo level 1 combo up to 8k power. You can use this to boost an Okarun up to 12k or even 13k if he used his Climax combo on the previous turn. And we have 2 more copies of the level 1 combo to go with our foil copy from earlier. Level 1 Vanilla. 1/1 Seiko. So this is a card that can basically not be a 1/1. When this is placed on stage from hand, if you have a full board, you can stock a character from waiting room, and then also on play from hand, you can choose one of your other characters and put it into stock. So in case you just like have some extra cards lying around, when you play this card, you can just send it to stock. Or maybe if you want to turn something weak on your board into something stronger, you can like play this card, send that weak character to stock, and then play something new that's stronger from your hand. And it saves you from having to use that weaker card as an attacker that turn. We have the level 3 Momo. This is on play, you draw up to 1 card and then choose an opponent's character. Your opponent cannot use any counters during that character's battle this turn. And then when this card's damage is canceled, you can discard a card in order to deal 1 damage to your opponent. Our event of the deck is going to be the Alien Abduction, and it's basically just a salvage 2, discard 1 counter. And for our red climaxes, we have 3 copies of the Door Climax that goes with the level 1 Climax combo. And then we have our empty +2 Soul Climax. Kicking Turbo Granny's ass. Yep. So that is going to be our climaxes for the trial deck. You get 2 of the Gold Bar, 4 of the Door, and 2 of the +2 Soul. And now we're going to just go through the remaining cards of the trial deck, try and find out what our foil is. Oh, that's right. Okay, so there's actually one more card that I forgot about, but I guess there's 1 copy here and there's 1 copy at the very back. That's kind of weird. But we have the level 0 Aira. So this is probably one of the best cards in the trial deck. It is a clean cut, so you can use this to rest one of your other characters on reverse and move that character to the back row. So you can use this with, like, for example, the level 0 Okarun. You can use the Okarun as an attacker, even though it's a back row character, and you attack with Aira afterwards, and then you can move it to the back row for safety to preserve it for later. Or you can just use this with any character, really, and just allows you to reuse cards for future turns, like maybe like a climax combo or something. So this is a really strong card overall. And I also forgot about this one. So the level 1 Okarun. So the 3 possible SPs for the trial deck are going to be these 3, I believe. The level 1 Momo, level 0 Aira, and the level 1 Okarun. So this Okarun is a level 1 utility card. When he's placed on stage from hand, you can give one of your characters 1500 power. And also when placed on stage from hand, you can discard a card to reveal the top card of your deck and salvage a level X or lower character, where X is the level of the card you revealed on top of your deck. This card, we typically call this a Rico effect. And this is just a really, really strong utility effect overall. It allows you to get an unneeded card out of your hand, pick up something that might be more useful from your waiting room, while at the same time gaining information about the top card of your deck, which can be important for various things, you know, like trigger knowledge or synergy with certain other cards in the set. Okay, so let's continue with our cards. Okay, we're on to red now. It looks like since we skipped the level 0 Momo that our foil is going to be the level 0 Momo. Usually that's just kind of how you can tell which card is your foil. And it is the level 0 Momo, which does have an alternate art, so that's quite nice. So that is going to do it for our trial deck. Remember, if you guys are looking for some buffs to the trial deck, be sure to check out our upcoming TD++ video. And now let's get into the booster boxes. Okay, here we go with box number 1. As far as the individual box ratios, as we did already go over the high rarity expected ratios, we should be expecting our usual rates of 3 or 4 double Rs per box and 3 foils per box. So do we also have, we do have box toppers. So we have our going first, going second cards. In this case, it's going to be going second of Turbo Granny in her fortune cat form. It's a long story. But let's get into our first booster box. Going to be 12 packs per box. And hopefully pull some of the cool cards that this set has to offer. Don't you want some crab Momo? Yeah, there's just like a little funny scene in like the downtime where they're just all enjoying a big feast of crab while talking with their mouth full, if I remember the scene correctly. Okay, so the colors in this set, so we have yellow is mainly going to be like the Okarun color, red is mainly the Momo color, green is mainly the Aira color, but there are also blue cards that are going to represent the aliens and spirits that they run into on their adventures, as well as one of the characters that only shows up at the very end of season 1, which is going to be Gigi. I think he shows up starting like episode like 9 or 10, so he shows up very, very late, and so that's basically how the color split works in this set. So as with the Aira cards, which are going to be mainly green, acrobatic silky cards, which are associated with Aira, are also going to be green. Oh, we already have our first foil. There's a Better Way Momo. So this is a 2/0 card that is intended to be used in the Okarun deck. So this gives 1k front, and then during your turn gives all other characters with Okarun in their card names plus 500 power. And then you also need this on stage in order to make it so that one of your level 3 Okarun finishers does not have a pretty massive downside. Now, a recurring trend that we will see with a lot of the acrobatic silky cards is that they do have soul triggers even on characters that do not have any cost. So we'll have like 1/0s with soul triggers. There's also a 0/0 with soul triggers. And the reason for this is because the Ayra Acrobatic Silky deck plays around having lots of cards with soul triggers to activate their climax combos optimally. This is the card that I was hinting at earlier from the when I was talking about the trial deck combo. So this level 1 Momo says when she's placed on stage from hand, you get to look at up to 4 cards from the top of your deck. And then if you see a copy of the level 1 combo in those 4 cards, you just get to put it straight on stage and send the rest to waiting room, completely free. Our first rare is going to be To a Kinder World. This is the 1/1 event for the Ayra deck. And this lets you look at up to 5 cards from the top of your deck and add a character from among them to your hand, send the rest to waiting room, and then put the event into memory. And while the event is in memory, at the start of your climax phase, you can look at the top card of your deck and either leave it there or send it to waiting room. And so this is intended to be used with the Ayra cards that are looking for soul triggers, just so you can look at the top card of your deck and see if it is a soul trigger or not. And if it's not, then you can send it to waiting room. And if it is, you can just leave it on top to use for your abilities. Now, I really like the climaxes in this set that can come as a triple rare plus. They remind me a lot of the climaxes from Oshinoko. Those like really close-up shots. Dover Demon, someone get this guy some milk. This is what the alien looks like when he's not in like his alien form. I mean, he still looks like an alien, but like, yeah, this guy basically turns into, yeah, so this is what he looks like, and then this is what he looks like when he's hypnotizing people, and then this is what they look like when they take off their, like, alien skin, or they take off their, like, humanoid skin, and they reveal their full alien form. Okay, so this level 1 Okarun is going to be one of the new cards introduced into the set. That was originally a promo in the Japanese version, and you can tell because the numbering on these new promo cards, or I guess they're not promos anymore, but the numbering on these new cards is going to be 101 through 104. And all these promos are extremely high impact, and definitely cards that you're going to want to run in their respective decks. So this Okarun is a 1/0/500 with a soul trigger, very important as it is a deck with 8 choice triggers. When you have a choice climax in play, this card in all of your zones also gains a choice icon. So definitely want to be running 4 copies of this in that deck in order to turn it into a 12 choice deck. He also turns into a level 2 with 6,000 power during your turn. And then if you're level 3 or higher, you can send this standing card to your waiting room to summon the level 3 RR Okarun finisher from your hand for free. So just a really, really great card overall, and helps out that deck a ton, gaining some extra resources and also just allowing you to save a lot of resources on your level 3 turn by using this card instead of 2 stock, basically. For our next rare is the level 0 Momo, and then another one of the climaxes that I believe can come triple R plus. I just realized I didn't talk about the triple R plus, but like I'm going to talk about it here, and then I'm going to insert it back in the previous part of the video in editing. Okay, back to the level 0 Momo, although if you're watching this video, you will have seen literally no skip. So this card says on play, you can pay 2 stock to search your deck for a climax that you already have a copy of in your waiting room. And then it has a bond effect. You can discard bonds into not the level 3, not the initial level 3 combo Okarun, but you can bond into either of the 2 level 3s that Okarun can change into as part of his combo. So honestly, I don't feel like this is the best card. I feel like you don't really need to bond into those level 3s, right? Because I think it just changes into them from the waiting room, if I'm not mistaken. Our first double rare is going to be the 1/0 Ayra combo. So this one, for those of you who are Hololive players or have played against Hololive, you will recognize this as the Calliope Mori combo. When this attacks, if you have 3 or more other traded characters, you can put up to 4 cards from the top of your deck into waiting room, count the number of soul triggers milled, and then salvage a character of that level or lower. And then this also gains an additional 1,000 power, bringing it up to 8,000 power total. So pretty strong attacker. And then she also has a Soul Trigger, playing into that theme of all of the like Aira and Acrobatic Silky cards that even without a cost are going to be having a lot of Soul Triggers. And so yeah, just a really strong, solid level 1 combo. It gives you flexible deck speed since you can mill up to 4 cards, unlike the Trial Deck Momo combo. And this one sees play in both the 8 gold bar Aira focus deck, as well as the 4-3-1, it's a 7 gold bar, 1 door deck that we will be featuring coming up on the channel as well. So keep an eye out for that. Our next card is going to be another one of the new promos, which is the 2-0 Turbo Granny. You can tell because it says 104 is its number. So this card can be played without having red. That being said, red is one of the more prominent colors that you're going to want to be including in a lot of decks anyway, so this shouldn't really be too much of a problem. And then when this is placed on stage from hand, you can pay 2 to force your opponent to shuffle all their stock into their deck, and then put that many cards from the top of their deck into their stock. So a stock shuffle. Always a nice profile to have access to help mess with your opponent's compression. And then for our rare, it's going to be a Momo level 3, which climax combos with this Pants Climax. I don't exactly remember what this card does. I didn't look too deep into the blue cards. Let's see, when this is placed on stage from hand, you can heal 1. And then when this attacks... Oh, this requires you to have 2 copies of the Occult event in memory. That's the one where like there's different arts. And what does this do? This is a... Oh, it allows you to attack with one of your back row characters. Okay, interesting. All right. More aliens. The level 0 Turbo Granny eating up that Yakisoba Pawn. This is actually a pretty solid card. It's a pay 1 sack top 4 at a character, but also it just happens to be 3,500 power with that, downside of all of your opponent's characters get pay 2 encore. That effect doesn't come up too often, and usually you can just get away with using this as just a really big beat stick with no real downside. And for our rare, we have Gigi. This is Momo's childhood friend. And this climax combo is... I remember this climax combo not being very good. During your turn, this gets 4k power. And then when the climax is placed on the climax area, you choose one of the following abilities, and it gets that ability until the end of the opponent's next turn. When this attacks, you can choose a character from waiting room, put it in stock. Or when this is front attack, you can return this card to your hand. Okay, so... it's not the worst combo. It's just that blue is quite lacking compared to the other colors, and I think that would be the main thing that makes this a bit harder to run. Also, the fact that we have other really strong climax combos like the Aira level 1 that are just in much better colors already. Momo's friends, each of her 2 friends that she hangs out with has 1 card. And here we have Okarun's Family Jewels, the Sacred Ball. So one of the first major arcs is basically Turbo Granny. I believe she takes his family jewels and then like loses them. So on this card, Turbo Granny, you can see the flavor text, I dropped them somewhere. And then the way that Okarun and Aira first meet, I believe, it's been a while since I watched it, but Aira finds one of his family jewels, and then she starts to be able to like see spirits once she has touched it. And then she believes she's like, because she's like narcissistic and thinks she's all that, she's like, I am the chosen one. I have been chosen to be able to see spirits. And so this event is obviously being associated with Okarun is going to be a yellow card. You grab a character from your clock, and then you replace that card that you took out of clock with the event. So the event goes into clock, and you choose one of your characters and you give it pay 1 Twin Drive until end of turn. So Twin Drive just being one of the like big themes with like choice decks, so you can trigger choice and then pay it out afterwards. And for our rare, we have this level 0 Momo. This one is kind of like a pseudo climax combo that works with any door climax. when this reverses a battle opponent and you have a door climax in play, you can summon any level 0 from your waiting room. And then she's also a level 0 bomb, so she can just guarantee a reverse versus a level 0 character. Ooh, okay, we have an SR. We got another copy of the level 1 combo Aira. This is probably one of the better, if not like one of the best SRs that you could possibly pull from this set, just because this card is so usable. Of course, we would have liked to see the SSP version of it, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. This level 2 Aira is a card that I think is quite interesting. It doesn't really see very much play, but it has a very unique effect. So we've seen effects like this, like probably like 8 or 9 times throughout Weiss Schwarz, including the Japanese side. Basically, the effect works only on your first turn. So if this card is in the waiting room at the start of your first turn, you look at the top card of your deck, and if it's a character, you add it to your hand. So you basically just get to start with an extra card. And if it is not, you put the top card into the waiting room. And then it's also a level 3 killer, gaining 6k power against level 3s. Yeah, just a very interesting card. Just being able to start with extra cards in the starting hand could just be really, really powerful. It's just the card outside of that just doesn't really do enough, I guess, to warrant playing. But I definitely think it's a very interesting card, and I would like to try this out sometime. Queen Sensei, this is like the school nurse, and she has like kind of like a dominatrix personality, just kind of yelling at everybody. And I know a lot of people, when they first experience this character, they're like, oh, yell at me, yell at me. But yeah, so this is going to be a anti-overlevel bomb, so it allows you to send an opponent's higher level character to memory. And then also, when this is placed on stage, you can discard a card to salvage any character with Momo or Okarun in its card name. So just kind of can double as some hand fix utility at the same time. And so for Momo and Okarun decks, typically this is going to be the anti-overlevel bomb that you want to include in those decks. Our rare is going to be the level 0 Okarun. This is a Riki. Riki being an effect where when this card is placed on stage from hand, you can pay 1 and clock the top card of your deck to search your deck for a level 1 or lower character. Very solid effect. These days, we are usually seeing more complicated, more powerful variations, like they gain extra power, or they clock from waiting room instead of clocking from the top card of your deck. So for those variants, it's impossible to like clock a climax from the top. This is just going to be the vanilla Riki effect, which is still good. Still definitely a great card to include in your decks to get some extra early game consistency. Ooh, our next double R is going to be the Momo Brainstorm. This is a top check 3 Brainstorm for every climax you hit. And then during your turn, all of your level 1 or higher characters in front of this card get an additional 500 power. Just a solid card overall. And our rare is going to be Acrobatic Silky, again with a soul trigger on a level 0 character. And so this card has 2 effects. When you trigger a gold bar climax, you can discard any card from hand in order to draw a card. And then also, if this card is in your back row and one of your characters with Aira in its name is sent from stage to waiting room, you can sacrifice this card from your back row in order to bring that Aira back. This is a really big flavor win. I am a big fan of this card in particular, both from a play perspective as well as a flavor perspective. For those of you who have seen Dandadan, you'll know why it's flavor, obviously. Okay, well, that's a foil to pull. We just pulled a foil alien dude. Interesting card. When this card attacks, if you have 2 or more other the Awesome Zone Serpoian, the alien guy, you choose up to 1 level 3 or lower character in your opponent's front row, and that character cannot stand next turn. Oh, this has 2 soul. Okay, so I guess the idea is that you're supposed to play 3 of this guy. You're supposed to side attack your opponent's entire front row. And then your opponent can't stand that character, their entire front row next turn. So they just have to like play over their characters. Weird. Okay. More card. Oh, Queen Sensei level 2. So this card is a very popular card in the gold bar builds. So this card says, when you trigger a climax with gold bar icon, you can discard a card to salvage a character. And then also when you play a climax, you can give a character 4,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. So just a really great card for buffing your board and allowing it to live turn after turn, and simultaneously making good use of those gold bar climaxes that are going to be coming into your hand with their gold bar effect when you trigger them. And then so you can get that 4K power boost every turn. And our rare was just the level 2 Momo we saw earlier as our foil. This is another one of the new cards, the level 0 Aira. So this card is a Brainstorm. I actually really like that this is an uncommon, because this is a really, really good card. And yeah, it's just really nice that it's available at a low rarity. So this is a tap self-salvage Brainstorm. And then she also has the additional effect, all of your copies of Because I'm the Chosen One Aira, which is level 1 combo, and Acrobatic Pretty Girl Aira, which is the level 3, we haven't pulled it yet, gain 500 power. And they gain the ability, when this attacks, you look at the top card of your deck, and you can either leave it on top or send it to the waiting room. So again, a really nice card for these cards that want to look for soul triggers. And just overall, really nice card. That extra 500 power is really great too. Just being able to have the Aira swing even higher, or maybe if you bring out the level 3 Aira early using a fusion ability, this 500 power boost is just great for allowing her to stay on board more easily. And level 2 rare is going to be Hiding Something Okarun, which combos with Occult Loving High School Boy. The climax combo is when you play the climax, if this is in your waiting room, you can bring it out by paying 1. Not the greatest combo. We would much rather just be running those choice combos, but it's there. He does have, notably, he does have 2 soul though, so you can bring out 2 soul beaters. Oh. Oh, and then our next double rare is going to be Critical Hit Momo. So compared to this Okarun we pulled earlier, we typically call this a Riki ability. This one allows you to get a +1 and then you pay 1, clock 1, get a +1. This Momo is a kind of effect that we typically call a Ruijerd effect from Ruijerd from Mushoku Tensei. And so instead of plussing you 1 by being a pay 1, clock 1, this is going to be clocking a character or clocking a card from hand in order to search. So it doesn't cost you a stock, but you don't get a +1. So it's kind of the trade-off. These are 2 of the most popular utility options run in Dandadan decks. Although I actually see the Momo a lot more, which I think is a little bit puzzling to me. Typically, I think of the Ruijerd as being a really strong effect if you are playing like a standby deck with a 1/1 climax combo, because if you were to play a Riki, which costs stock, and then play your combo, which also costs stock, you can run into trouble, maybe not having enough stock to do everything you want. But a Ruijerd in a deck with a 1/1 combo, it makes a lot more sense. The thing is that in Dandadan, typically you don't see people running a costed combo. A lot of the time it's just going to be like the Aira combo or something. So a lot of people running the Ruijerd Momo just puzzles me just a little bit. And then her other effect is during your turn, this gets +1000 power. Okay, and then here is the final of our new cards, which is going to be the level 3 Momo. And so this is a level 3 early play. If you have 2 or less climaxes, experience 4 or more, this gains an additional 1500 power. And when this reverses a battle opponent, you can pay 1, discard 1 to burn 1, and on play heal. So what I think is really funny about this card is that this is an uncommon printing for the English version of Dandadan, whereas all of these effects on this card, if we go look at Blue Archive, it's the level 3 Hina, which is a double rare. I think that if this card was printed in the actual set as just a normal card and not like a promo that was added later, I definitely think that this would be a double rare quality card. Honestly, I think probably all of... Okay, maybe not the Okarun. The Okarun would probably have been like a rare if it was in the normal set. This definitely could have been a double rare though. Really, really strong card. And then our rare is going to be Tenacious Pursuit Okarun. I'm going to leave this one for later to potentially come back to in a bit, because this one is part of a 3-card package. I'll like leave this off to the side or something. There's our anti-change backup of the set, the Aira in Dad's Study. Just discard 2 cards and then anti-change 2 clock. Oh, and then we did get a 4th double rare, Acrobatic Pretty Girl Aira. So this is what Aira looks like in like her like combined form when she gets Acrobatic Silky's powers. And so this card, when this is placed on stage from hand or by fusion, you can choose a character from your clock, put it on the bottom of your deck. This can be useful for rigging the bottom of your deck with cards with soul triggers to use for her Climax combo. Climax combo, when this card attacks with a gold bar Climax, you can discard a card to burn 1 and then mill the top card of your deck. And then if that card was a card with a soul trigger icon or it was a gold bar Climax, you get to deal 1 damage to your opponent a 2nd time. So this is kind of like Gura at home for those of you who are Hololive enthusiasts. So you can play Kali Gura at home. Wow, that's crazy. Okay, moving on. Oh, this card I actually think is pretty interesting. So it's an early play while you have 5 or more gold bar Climax in your waiting room. She's 11/5 power, and when the character facing this attacks, you can pay 1 to look at the top 2 cards of your own deck, and then send as many as you want to waiting room, leave the rest on top. So despite this having this early play condition with gold bars, I actually feel like this card might be better in like a standby deck. So you can standby this out at level 2. It can be 11/5, just be fat, and then you can use its defensive utility with this last effect. Just a thought. Level 1 Momo. I believe this Climax combo just salvages a character. Oh, it's okay. When the Climax is placed, if this is in your front row, you can send one of your other characters on stage to stock in order to salvage 1. Huh, that's a weird effect. Did I miss a rare somewhere? Oh, wait, no. Duh. Level 3. I was just looking at how many rares we have here, and I'm like, how do I only have 10 rares? Alright, for our last pack. Here we have the Seiko Fumio. On play, you can pay 1, discard 1. Your opponent chooses 1 Climax from their waiting room and shuffles all the other cards back into their deck. So between the Seiko and the Turbo Granny, we do have the Stock Swap Fumio or Stock Shuffle Fumio combination, just to really mess with your opponent's deck state. And then for our last rare of the box, going to be the 2/1 Acrobatic Silky. So this one is used with a specific level 0 Aira. I believe it's a rare. I don't think we pulled it. I believe it's a rare. But it has fusion with that specific Aira. Pretty Girl Has Arrived Aira in order to bring out the level 3 Aira. And so this can be done at level 2. It can kind of serve as a early play heal in that sense, just like the level 3 from the trial deck, level 3 Okarun. Okay, so that is going to be our first box. Let's get right into our second one after some quick cleanup. Okay, guys, box number 2. We pulled a pretty good foil out of our first box with the level 1 Aira combo, but let's see if we can pull one of the higher rarities out. Here we have a going first card to go with our going second. So we have a Momo going first. I don't remember how many different variations of going first, going second. I assume there's like 5 sets, 1 for each of the main cast. Or maybe 6 sets? I don't know if there's a Seiko one. Doesn't say. Right. Oh, come on. First pack of box 2. The Last Hope Seiko. This one goes with the Crab Momo. Can just like search and salvage the Crab Momo Vanilla, and then like gives it 2k power. Pretty funny card. Immediately we have our first SR, which is going to be, what is this? Anti-move Aira. When this is placed on stage from hand, if you have another character, this gets 2k power, and you can choose one of your opponent's characters, and that character cannot move until the end of the opponent's next turn. Could potentially be like a nice one of if you want to mess with standby decks. Uncommon. Level 0 Acrobatic Silky. Level 0 Ira. This one has the same effect as the level 1 Okrun from the trial deck, where on play you discard a card, reveal the top card of your deck, and salvage a level X or lower character, where X is the level of the revealed card. The reason you might want to run the Okrun over Ira is there is one particular good card from this set. It's a double rare that does want you to run more higher level characters because it needs to hit a top check on a level 1 or higher. And so that would be one of the main reasons that you would want to run the level 1 Okrun over the Ira. The other reason is the Okrun's 1500 buff on play can be quite useful. But this card comes with the ability to just be able to use it at level 0. Also being able to use it in any deck without having to worry about like color restrict. Oh! Okay, we hit a SP. We hit SP Momo Brainstorm. This is a really good SP to hit. Very useful card. So as you can see, the SP does not have any sort of signature print. Does instead have the red borders on like the level text and the trigger and the all the text at the bottom. So yeah, it's not the greatest, but it still looks pretty good, if I'm being honest. So, I mean, like, we will take an SP for sure, especially when it's a super playable one like this Momo Brainstorm. And Acrobatic Silky for our rare. Ha! And immediately after, we pull a double R copy of the same Momo. Oh, this is sorry, this is a rare, not an uncommon. This is another one of the cards that can go into the trial deck if you want to do like a sort of trial deck plus thing. This card's effect is as long as you only have one copy of this card on stage, all of your door trigger climaxes gain a soul trigger. And she is also an assist 1000, and then she gives all copies of your battle. Fashion is the battle uniform for Gyaru's Momo, which is the level 1 combo from the trial deck, and Bloom Psychic Powers, which is the level 3 combo from the booster set. It gives all copies of them 500 power. So you could get a Momo. You could have Momos on your board at 7500 power. Quite strong. And we got another alien for our SR. Okay. What does this alien do? The character facing this and all of your characters gain this card can't slide attack. If at the beginning of your opponent's draw phase, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is a level 0 or lower, you can return this card to your hand, including climax. Very interesting card. Okay. And our rare is going to be the level 0 summoner with any door. This is one of the artworks for Occult Close Encounters of the Third Kind that you need for that level 3 Momo rare that we saw earlier. This comes in a few artworks, although my favorite one is the one with the cow getting abducted, for sure. The other ones are just like creepy alien faces, and I'm not looking for that. Turbo Baba. This is the fusion for the booster set Okarun. What's interesting is usually these fusion cards, so like if we look at the level 2 Acrobatic Silky, usually these level 2 fusion cards, they have the effect, when this is placed on stage from hand, you can choose up to 2 copies of the fusion target, and you can put them on the bottom of your deck in any order. That's the normal, typical effect that goes on all these fusion cards, but this one doesn't have that. Instead, this one has on play, pay 2, free refresh. Kind of weird, if I'm being real. You have to spend 2 stock just to get Okaruns back into your deck? No thanks, I'm good. Level 3 Momo. Oh, another Aira. Is there a chance that we get the same 4 double Rs again? Level 3, Aira. I think this one, yeah, she summons a copy of herself from this narcissistic girl, man. She just wants to see more of herself. She lets you swap a character on your stage with another copy of herself from your level, and then like discards herself for the cost of her ability. Yeah. We're getting down into our last 2 packs. I wonder if we'll get 4 double Rs in this box. 1, 2, double R. No. Unfortunately, this is going to be a 3 double R box only. For our rare, we have Her Chakra has opened up. This is an event card that allows you to search your deck for a door climax, add it to your hand, and then it also sends itself to memory. And then for our last double R is Critical Hit Momo again. So we pulled 3 dupe double Rs, so we're going to have to go into the playset to pull out a lot of other double Rs to showcase for you guys. And then we also got the level 0 Aira. This is the one that goes with the Acrobatic Silky level 2 in order to perform fusion. Well, what I think is really interesting about this card, so this card has 2 effects. One of them is just like a typical, we call it a helmet effect, off of the Kanata wearing a helmet from Hololive. So you can sacrifice this card and then discard a card to salvage any character from your waiting room. The first effect, it says, when this is placed on stage from your waiting room, you can choose up to 2 Acrobatic Silky characters. Doesn't have to be necessarily this one, but there can be, you can put any Acrobatic Silkies, so any of the like level 1s with like soul triggers or things like that. So you can put like these Acrobatic Silkies from your deck, from your waiting room, you can shuffle them back into your deck. But the thing is that when this is placed on stage from waiting room is a little bit of a weird condition, and it is intended to be used with the level 0 Vow to Protect You Acrobatic Silky, which is another Acrobatic Silky with a soul trigger. And so what you can do is, let's say you have this Acrobatic Silky in your waiting room. So what you can do is you can activate the helmet effect, sacrifice this card, discard 1, salvage something back. Like let's say we salvage back the level 2. We sacrifice the 0, bring back the Aira, rested, and then we can use her effect. We can shuffle like 2 Acrobatic Silkies back into our deck, play the level 2 Acrobatic Silky, perform fusion, bring out the level 3, and then now we have more soul triggers in our deck in order to utilize with the Climax combo to try to mill soul triggers and deal extra burns. So yeah, that is basically how this works. Just be sure to look out for that. If you play this Aira level 0, it can be a little bit easy to miss, I guess. So yeah, that's going to do it for our second box. We'll be right back with our double rares, show you guys the rest of what the double rares in the set have to offer. And yeah, just editing, woo. Okay guys, so we're back. Before we get into the double Rs, we're going to take a look at a few rare, okay, well maybe not these yet. We're going to take a look at a couple rares that I didn't get to talk about because we didn't pull them. I think these 2 are pretty notable. So we have the level 0 Okarun. This is basically the set's main brainstorm, or salvage brainstorm, if the new Aira promo was not inserted into the set as an uncommon. So this one is a tap self-salvage brainstorm, and then when you trigger a climax, you can give any character 1000 power until end of turn. Nothing super special, but definitely would get the job done. And obviously for decks where you're not running any of the like Ira cards and you want a salvage brainstorm, this is the card that you would definitely look forward to playing. And then we have this level 1 Momo, casual wear Momo. So one of the minor themes of the set, particularly for like Team Momo and Seiko cards, is going to be the use of the experience mechanic. So you need to level higher level cards in order to turn on their abilities. So for this Momo, she has, when this is placed on stage from hand and you have experience 2, you can discard a card to look at up to 4 cards from the top of your deck to grab a level 1 or higher card from among them and add it to your hand and send the rest to waiting room. So this is going to be a pretty useful ability, especially for the decks running like the level 1 Momo trial deck combo, as the trial deck combo does not have flexible mill because you have to mill 3. So you can kind of use this to not only clean out your hand of stuff that you don't need and try to get more useful level 1 or higher cards from the top cards of your deck, but you can use this to play a bit more flexibly with your deck size and make sure that you aren't leaving yourself at like unfavorable deck states at the end of your turn. And you can also do this in tandem with like the top check 3 Momo brainstorms, like the SP that we just pulled. Now, as far as our double rares go, we pulled that one. Okay, so let's talk about the yellow double rares first. So first up, we have the level 0 Okarun. This is like basically the set's standout turn 1 level 0 play. So this card is only 500 base power, but he goes up to 3,500 as long as all of your characters are human or strange trait. So he's just 3,500 by default. When he is reversed, if you have 4 or more cards in your hand, you reveal the top card of your deck. And if that card is level 1 or higher, you can return this card back to your hand. So earlier in the opening, I was talking about the level 1 trial deck Okarun versus the level 0 Ira. And I was saying that there's a level 0 that incentivizes you to run higher level cards in order to use it more. So that would be this Okarun right here. This one is basically like auto 4 of in every single Dandadan deck, just because it offers so much for the level 0 line. It just gets to be a fat 3,500 beater, while also giving you the chance to have it bounce back to your hand and just gain free card advantage. So great card. Our level 1 Okarun combo is going to be a 103k with a soul trigger, of course. Gotta have soul triggers when you're playing a choice level 1 combo these days, so that you can pick it up more easily off of the choice climaxes. When he's placed on stage from hand, if you have another traded character, he gets +1 level and 3,500 power for the turn, bringing him up to 6,500 before climax. And then climax combo is on attack. You can discard a card to look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck, add a character or sacred ball event to your hand, send the rest to waiting room, and then perform it again. So you get to top check 3 twice, basically, to add extra cards. It gives the deck a lot of deck speed for sure. The selectivity could be a little bit on the lower side as a result, though, because you're only looking at so many cards from the top of your deck. But honestly, it's a pretty good combo overall. And when you combine this combo with some of the other cards in the set, it can be what's the right phrase I'm looking for? You can just kind of get what you want with things like the Sacred Ball event. I think is probably a big potential player in the Okarun strategies. It gives you extra access to a completely different zone, being able to pull cards out of your clock while also giving you Twin Drive, which can be really good for paying out choice climaxes or even paying out like the level 1 Okarun that can become a choice climax. That being said, I feel like with the introduction of the new Okarun level 1, the space in the deck is a little bit tight to run the Sacred Ball event. So we'll have to see what the choice builds look like moving forward. Our level 3 finisher is going to be Full Throttle Strike Okarun, and he's also associated with these 2 rares, Full Throttle Pursuit Okarun and Tenacious Pursuit Okarun. So Okarun is on play. You can draw up to 2 cards, discard 2 cards, and then put up to 1 card from the top of your deck into stock. Additionally, this card can be played for free off of that new level 1 Okarun, which would save you 2 stock in exchange for losing 1 extra card. The climax combo for this Okarun is at the end of this card's attack, if you have World of Occult, which is a choice climax, in your climax area, you can pay 4 and discard a card. If you do, all markers underneath this card go into the waiting room, and the way he would get markers is if you brought him out via fusion. And then you choose one of these 2 level 3s from your waiting room and put it on top of him, and the card that you put on top now gains the other level 3 as a marker. And then at the end of the turn, this one goes back to being on top. And so this is basically a pseudo restand, as it allows you to gain talking's hard. It allows you to gain an additional attack by pseudo restanding into one of the 2 other Okaruns. Depending on which Okarun you go into, you could have additional follow-ups for the pseudo restand attack. So for example, the Tenacious Pursuit Okarun has a once per turn cancel burn 5, and he also heals when he's placed on stage from hand or by the effect of the Full Throttle Strike Okarun. And the Full Throttle Pursuit Okarun does not have an on-play ability. Instead, it triggers twice. This can be pretty useful if you want to try to extend your finisher turn because you don't have enough hand or stock at the time. So you could try to trigger more choice climaxes using this double trigger to try to extend your finisher turn. And then this card's climax combo is when it attacks, if you have World of Occult, all of these combo with World of Occult, by the way. When it attacks, you can discard 2 in order to burn 3, gain 2,000 power, and then at the end of this card's attack, if you do not have There's a Better Way Momo, which is the level 2 support we pulled earlier. If you do not have this Momo on stage, you have to clock the top 3 cards of your deck. So obviously you want to have the level 2 Momo on your stage when you're going for this finisher, or when you're going for this one at least. You do want to have that Momo. So yeah, that is going to be our level 3 suite for the Okarun deck. Let's take a look at a few more double Rs. For more red double Rs, we have the level 3 Seiko and we have the level 3 Momo. So Seiko is an early play heal if you have 4 or more characters on stage. If you have experience 3 or more, she becomes a 10k with hand encore and she heals. So typically when you see this card, you're probably going to see it in pretty high numbers so that you can level a copy of Seiko and have the rest to use for using as healers. Alternatively, as of the release of the new Momo level 3, some people do like to run copies of the Seiko alongside the Momo, just as a way to have a few more options in terms of dealing damage to your opponent, as that Momo does have the on reverse, you can pay 1, ditch 1 to burn 1. Our level 3 Momo is going to be on a door. When she's placed on stage from hand, you can choose a copy of her door climax in your waiting room, and you can either add it to your hand or you can put it to stock. So this is an ability that we've seen previously on the Makima level 3 from Chainsaw Man. And when this attacks, if you have the door climax in play, you can either force your opponent to shuffle all their stock into their deck and then put the same number of cards on the top of their deck into stock. And then you also get to Mocha 1 your opponent afterwards. Or you can pay 1, discard 1 to deal 2 damage to your opponent. So this is a very efficient finisher because you can not have the climax at all, just have it in your waiting room, and then you can play 3 copies of Momo with each of them refunding 1 stock pretty much like along the way. So I believe you can do triple Momo combo just starting with 5 stock. Because the first one you play, and then you refund 1 stock, you go from 5 to 3 to 4. You play the second one, you go from 4 to 2 to 3, and then you play the third Momo, and then this time you salvage the climax, so this one you pay 2 stock. So yeah, you can pull off triple Momo for just 5 starting stock. Pretty solid. and just an overall good card. A lot of people like to run this card in the earlier mentioned 4-3-1 build because you don't need to run a lot of copies of the Door Climax in order to be able to use the combo. You can just run the one copy of the Door, and then just as long as it's in your waiting room, you have access to it. And our final double rare is going to be the level 0 Aira. So when you have 5 or more cards in your hand, this gets plus 1,000 power, bringing it up to 3k. And then when this is sent from the stage to the waiting room, you can look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. And then if you revealed 1 or more, you can add a character from among them to your hand, or the 1/1 event that we pulled for Aira. Did we pull the foil for that one as well, I think, right? No, we did not. Okay, we just pulled the rare. That's what it was. You can add either a character or that event to your hand and then discard a card. So just a 3k that allows you to go through the deck a bit, hand fix a bit when it gets reversed and sent to waiting room. Honestly, I don't really see this card that often. I think maybe just like other level 0 options are taking more priority in players' lists. I feel like if you wanted to include this card in your list, it could be a pretty solid, just like a 2 of. Just have, if you draw it in the early game, you can use it to just like hand fix a little, get through your deck, be a 3k beater. But also just having it at like 2 copies in the list gives you the option to grab it later off of like a brainstorm and just give yourself a little bit of extra deck speed. So that's going to be our last double R for the set. There are no blue double Rs. And yeah, that's going to be it. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. Next up on the channel, we're going to be getting into, should be our Trial Deck Plus Plus, TD++, which should be with Simu, so keep on the lookout for that. Afterwards, we're going to be following it up with our main deck profile for the set, and finishing up our Dandadan block with some gameplay for you guys. Since we didn't have any gameplay for our Girls Band Cry block, we are going to be incorporating Girls Band Cry into the gameplay block for Dandadan, so look out for that in case you guys were on the lookout for some Girls Band Cry content. And then following that up, we're going to get right into our next set, which is going to be Makein, Too Many Losing Heroines. So we've got a pretty packed schedule for you guys. We hope to see you guys back for all of our upcoming videos. And until then, this has been Randall, aka Shizakats, on the Tressa Collectibles channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!